When I opened the antique chest in my bedroom looking for Sarah's recipe book, the one thing she'd treasured above everything else, my son Derek stood in the doorway and said, "Oh, that old thing? I threw it out last week." We needed space for Vanessa's yoga equipment. The casual way he said it, like he'd discarded junk mail instead of 4 generations of family history, made my blood run cold. I called every donation center in Calgary trying to find it. When Value Village told me, "Sir, we did receive a handwritten cookbook, but there's something strange about the recipes," I knew Sarah had left me one final message. Before I continue, I need to say this happened to me, Robert Mitchell, in Calgary, Alberta. I'm 62 years old, and I never thought I'd be telling this story. But here we are. I stood in my bedroom, staring at the empty antique chest Sarah had inherited from her grandmother. The brass hinges gleamed in the morning light, mocking me. That chest had held one thing for the past 4 years since Sarah passed away. Her recipe book. Not just any cookbook. This was a thick, leather-bound journal filled with handwritten recipes going back to her great-grandmother in Nova Scotia. Sarah's grandmother had started it in 1952, added her own recipes. Sarah's mother continued the tradition. Then, Sarah spent 40 years adding her own, refining old ones, writing notes in the margins about family dinners, Christmas gatherings, birthday cakes for our son Derek. Gone. I'd been looking for it because today was November 23rd, 4 years exactly since Sarah died from ovarian cancer. I'd planned to spend the morning reading through her notes, touching the pages she'd touched, seeing her handwriting. Maybe make her butter tarts, the ones Derek used to beg for every weekend. Instead, I faced an empty chest. Derek's voice had come from the doorway. Not apologetic, not concerned, just matter of fact. "Oh, that old thing? I threw it out last week." I'd turned to face my son. He was leaning against the doorframe, coffee mug in hand, completely relaxed in my house, like he owned it. Which, apparently, he believed he did. "You what?" "Threw it out. We're decluttering. Vanessa's been watching Marie Kondo. The house was full of your old junk, Dad. We needed to make space." My son. My own son. The boy Sarah had carried for 9 months, nursed through colic, stayed up with during teenage heartbreaks. He'd thrown away her most precious possession like it was garbage. "That book belonged to your great-great-grandmother," I said quietly. "It was 4 generations of family recipes." Derek shrugged. "You can find any recipe online now. Nobody needs some moldy old book." He took a sip of his coffee. Besides, Vanessa needed space for her yoga studio in the spare room. That chest was taking up wall space. I looked past him. Down the hall, I could see Vanessa's yoga mat spread across the floor of what used to be Sarah's craft room. My son's wife had moved into my house 3 years ago with him and their daughter Chloe, supposedly temporary, while they got back on their feet after Derek lost his job. 3 years later, they were still here, not paying rent, not contributing to groceries or utilities, just slowly taking over every room, every space, every memory. "Where did you throw it?" I managed to ask. "Donation bin at Value Village on 17th Avenue. 2 days ago." I didn't wait for more. I grabbed my truck keys from the dresser, pushed past Derek in the hallway. Behind me, I heard him call out, "Dad, seriously, it's just a book. You're overreacting." I drove to Value Village with my hands tight on the steering wheel. The November sky hung gray and heavy over Calgary, threatening snow. The Bow River beside Memorial Drive looked cold and dark. I'd driven this route 1,000 times with Sarah. She'd loved going to Value Village, hunting for treasures, finding old cookbooks to add to her collection. The donation center sat behind the main store. I parked and practically ran inside. A young woman with purple hair stood behind the counter. "Can I help you?" "My son donated a leather-bound recipe book here 2 days ago. Handwritten. I need it back." She frowned. "Sir, once items are donated, they go into our inventory system. Please. It's a family heirloom. My late wife's recipes going back 4 generations." Something in my voice must have reached her. She typed on her computer. "Handwritten cookbook. Let me check." More typing. "We did receive something like that. It's been tagged for specialty pricing because of the vintage nature." "Can I buy it back?" "You'd need to purchase it from the floor." It should be in the collectibles section. She paused. But sir, when our pricing specialist was examining it, she noticed something odd about some of the recipes. Odd how? The measurements don't make sense. Like, one recipe calls for 174 grams of flour, 423 milliliters of milk. Very specific, unusual numbers. She looked at me curiously. She thought maybe it was some kind of code. My heart started pounding. Sarah had been a nurse for 35 years. Precise, methodical, always thinking ahead. If she'd hidden something in those recipes. Can I see it? Please? She disappeared into the back. Returned 5 minutes later carrying Sarah's book, wrapped in protective plastic. My hands shook as I took it. The leather was worn smooth from decades of use. Sarah's name embossed on the front in gold lettering that had faded to a dull bronze. I opened it carefully. There, on the first page, in Sarah's handwriting, for Robert, when you need it most. Follow the recipe for Nova Scotia oatcakes. All the measurements matter. I love you always. S. Nova Scotia oatcakes. That was the first recipe her great-grandmother had written in 1952. I flipped to page 7. Found it. The ingredients were listed in Sarah's precise handwriting, but the measurements were bizarre. 174 grams oats, 423 milliliters buttermilk, 1,127 grams brown sugar. Numbers, not measurements. Sarah was giving me numbers. How much for the book? I asked. It's tagged at $75 because of the vintage nature and the leather binding. I pulled out my wallet, handed her my credit card. I'll take it. She rang it up, bagged it carefully. I drove home holding that bag like it contained diamonds. At home, Derek and Vanessa were in the kitchen. She was making some kind of green smoothie, the blender roaring. Chloe sat at the table, eyes glued to her phone. I walked past them to my bedroom, closed the door, locked it, sat at Sarah's old writing desk, the one I'd kept in here after she died, opened the recipe book to the Nova Scotia oatcakes. Then, in tiny writing at the bottom of the page, TD Canada Trust, main branch downtown. A safety deposit box. Sarah had a safety deposit box I didn't know about. I grabbed my phone, searched for the address. TD Canada Trust, downtown Calgary, 8th Avenue. I could be there in 20 minutes. I stood, grabbed my jacket. In the hallway, Derek called out, "Where are you going?" "Bank." "What for?" "Personal business." His eyes narrowed. "You're not doing something stupid with your money, are you?" I looked at my son. Really looked. When had he become this person? This stranger who saw me as a bank account instead of his father. "My money is my business," I said quietly. Downtown Calgary bustled with lunchtime traffic. I found parking near the bank, fed the meter, walked inside. The branch was large, modern, all glass and chrome. A young man at the information desk looked up as I approached. "I need to access a safety deposit box." "Do you have the box number?" "I have numbers from my late wife." "I think they might be the box number." He looked uncertain. "Sir, without proper authorization. My wife passed away 4 years ago. Her name was Sarah Mitchell. I'm Robert Mitchell, her husband. I have her death certificate in my truck if you need it. Let me get a manager." 10 minutes later, I sat across from Christine Larson, branch manager, a woman in her 40s with kind eyes. I'd brought in Sarah's death certificate, my ID. The recipe book opened to the Nova Scotia oatcakes page. Christine examined everything carefully. "The box is registered under Sarah Elizabeth Mitchell. You're listed as the secondary authorized party." She looked up. "Box 174. You had the first number correct. What about the other numbers?" "Those might be." She typed on her computer, her eyebrows raised. "Mr. Mitchell, Box 174 was last accessed in August 2019 by Sarah. She left specific instructions that if anything happened to her, you were to be notified. But," she paused, "we sent notification to your home address in 2020. I never received it." The letter was returned as undeliverable. Then with COVID, things got delayed. By the time we tried again, you'd moved? "No, I'm still at the same address." But Derek and Vanessa had moved in shortly after Sarah died. Had they intercepted the letter? Christine saw my expression. Let me take you to the vault. The vault room felt cold. Walls of metal boxes, each with 2 keyholes. Christine used her key and the box number to slide out a long metal container. She handed it to me, surprisingly heavy, and led me to a private room. Take all the time you need, she said gently. I sat alone with Sarah's final secret. My hands trembled as I lifted the lid. Inside, stacks of cash in sealed bank envelopes. I counted quickly. $50,000. Beneath the money, a USB drive and a sealed letter with my name. I opened the letter with shaking fingers. Sarah's handwriting, that familiar script I'd seen on grocery lists and love notes for 40 years. My dearest Robert, if you're reading this, I'm gone, and I hope you found this before Derek did. I'm writing this in August 2019, 3 months after my diagnosis. The doctors say I have a year, maybe 2, if the treatment works. I'm not telling you about this box because I want you to have time with me, not time worrying about what comes after. But I need you to know some things about our son. Derek has always struggled with money. Remember when he was 25 and we bailed him out of credit card debt? Then again at 28, at 32? Each time, he promised it was the last time. Each time, we believed him. Vanessa is worse. I've watched her spending habits. The designer bags she can't afford. The way she talks about your retirement savings, like it's already hers. She doesn't work. Hasn't worked since Chloe was born. She sees you as a resource, not a father-in-law. I've saved this money over the past 15 years. Small amounts from each paycheck, from my overtime nursing shifts, from the investments my mother left me. It's approximately $50,000. This is for you, Robert, not for Derek, not for Vanessa, not for their problems or their debts or their wants. After I'm gone, Derek will move in. He'll say it's temporary, to help you cope with grief. But he won't leave. He'll slowly take over the house. He'll sell things. He'll push boundaries. He'll make you feel guilty for wanting your own space. Don't let him. This money gives you options. Keep it safe. Keep it secret. When the time comes that you can't bear living in that house anymore, you can leave. Buy yourself a small condo somewhere quiet. Live your life for yourself. I've also included a USB drive. On it is a video message from me. Watch it when you need to hear my voice telling you it's okay to choose yourself. You've been the love of my life, Robert, the best husband, the best father you could be with the son we were given. But your duty is done. Live for yourself now. I love you forever. Sarah. I sat in that small room and let the tears come. Sarah had known. She'd known everything that would happen. She'd prepared for this moment, left me a lifeline. The USB drive sat on the table. I picked it up, turned it over in my fingers. Sarah's final message. I couldn't watch it here. I pocketed the drive, carefully placed the cash back in the box, closed the lid. Christine was waiting outside. Everything all right, Mr. Mitchell? Yes. Can I keep accessing this box? Of course. You're the authorized party now. I drove home in a daze. The recipe book sat on the passenger seat. Sarah's letter in my jacket pocket, burning like a coal against my heart. At home, Derek's truck blocked the driveway. I had to park on the street. Inside, the house smelled like Vanessa's essential oil diffuser, some kind of lavender that Sarah would have hated. Derek was on the couch, laptop open. Where have you been? Bank. Like I said, for 3 hours? I had business to take care of. Vanessa emerged from the kitchen. Robert, we need to talk about the house expenses. The heating bill was outrageous last month. I looked at her. She'd been living in my house for 3 years, never paid $1 toward utilities, and now she was complaining about the heating bill. The heating bill is my concern, I said evenly. But we all live here. We should split costs fairly. Derek nodded. She's right, Dad. We're family. We should share expenses. You don't pay rent. We contribute in other ways, Vanessa said, her voice taking on that edge it always did when challenged. I cook. I clean. I thought about Sarah's letter, the warning about Vanessa, about Derek, about this exact conversation. I'll handle the expenses, I said. Walked to my bedroom, locked the door. I sat at Sarah's desk, pulled out my laptop, inserted the USB drive. One video file. I double-clicked. Sarah's face filled the screen. Thinner than I remembered, the cancer already taking its toll. But her eyes were bright and alive. She was sitting in our bedroom, the same desk where I sat now. "Hi, sweetheart," she said, and hearing her voice broke something inside me. "If you're watching this, you found the box. Good. That means the recipe worked." She smiled. That smile I'd fallen in love with 43 years ago. I'm recording this in September 2019. I don't have much time left, and I need to tell you things I can't say while I'm alive because you'll argue with me. You'll say I'm wrong about Derek. But Robert, I'm not wrong. Our son is broken in ways we can't fix. We tried. God knows we tried. But some people don't want to be fixed. They want to be enabled. And Vanessa enables all his worst instincts. After I'm gone, stand up for yourself. You've spent 40 years putting me first, then putting Derek first. Now it's time to put Robert first. That money is your freedom fund. Use it. Don't feel guilty. You earned it through all those years of working 2 jobs to pay for Derek's college, for his wedding, for bailing him out again and again. I love you, Robert Mitchell. Be strong. Be selfish. Live your life. The video ended. I sat in the darkness, tears streaming down my face, and felt Sarah's presence like she was standing right beside me. Over the next week, I started documenting everything. Sarah's methodical nursing training had rubbed off on me during 40 years of marriage. I kept a detailed journal. November 24th. Derek blocked driveway again. I had to park 3 houses down. Photographed his truck placement. November 25th. Vanessa used my credit card, she'd taken it from my wallet, to order $347 of yoga equipment online. Photographed the delivery boxes. November 27th. Found my tool chest in the garage had been raided. Derek sold my vintage hand planes on Kijiji without asking. Confirmed by checking his Kijiji account. He left his laptop open. November 28th. Attempted to watch TV in living room. Vanessa said they were having family time and I should go to my bedroom. Chloe smirked. Each incident documented, photographed, time-stamped. On December 1st, I called Wilson & Associates, a family law firm in Calgary. Spoke with Patricia Wilson, a lawyer specializing in elder rights and tenancy issues. Her office was in a building downtown, 20th floor, views of the mountains to the west. Patricia was maybe 50, sharp eyes, no-nonsense demeanor. "Tell me everything," she said. I did. The whole story. Sarah's death. Derek moving in temporarily. 3 years of occupation without rent. The recipe book thrown away. The safety deposit box. The increasing hostility. Patricia listened, made notes, asked pointed questions. "Mr. Mitchell, under Alberta's Residential Tenancies Act, your son and his family are tenants. Even without a written lease, even paying no rent, they're still tenants after 3 years of occupation. So I can't just kick them out? Not legally. You need to follow proper eviction procedures. Give formal notice. If they refuse to leave, file with the Residential Tenancy Dispute Resolution Service. How long does that take? 2 to 4 months if they contest it. But," she leaned forward, "we can expedite if we can show cause. Have they caused damage? Engaged in illegal activity? Threatened you?" Derek gets angry, slams doors, gets in my face. "But no physical contact?" "Not yet." Patricia pulled out a contract. "My retainer is $3,500. That covers the initial filing and first appearance at RTDRS. If this goes to court, there will be additional costs." I thought about Sarah's $50,000. Money meant for exactly this. "When can we start?" I signed the retainer that afternoon. Patricia began drafting a formal notice to vacate. "We'll give them 60 days, as required by Alberta law," she explained. "The notice will be served formally by a process server. After that, if they refuse, we file for eviction hearing." December 3rd. A process server arrived at my house at 9 a.m. Professional woman, all business. She knocked on Derek's bedroom door, handed him the notice when he answered in his boxer shorts. I watched from my bedroom doorway. Derek read the notice, his face going from confusion to fury. "What the hell is this?" Notice to vacate, sir. You have 60 days. She left. Derek stormed to my room. Did you do this? Yes. You're evicting us? Your own son? You've lived here rent-free for 3 years. The arrangement needs to change. Mom would be disgusted with you. That broke something in me. Your mother warned me about you. She knew exactly what you'd become. His face went white. What are you talking about? She left me a letter, told me everything I needed to know. Vanessa appeared behind him. Robert, we can work this out. We just need more time. You've had 3 years. Where are we supposed to go? Chloe's voice, small and scared from her room. I felt a pang of guilt. But Sarah's voice in my head, stand up for yourself. That's not my problem to solve, I said quietly. Over the next weeks, the atmosphere became toxic. Derek stopped speaking to me entirely. Vanessa made pointed comments about cruel fathers and abandoning family. Chloe put on sad expressions whenever I walked by, but I'd installed security cameras, small ones, hidden in the living room and kitchen, connected to my phone. I watched everything. December 15th, 3:22 p.m. Derek on the phone. Yeah, we're not leaving. He can't make us. We'll drag this out for months. By then, he'll give up. December 18th, 7:45 p.m. Vanessa to Derek. We should just forge his signature on a power of attorney. He's getting senile. We could get him declared incompetent. December 20th, 11:33 a.m. Derek. Rage-filled. I should just push the old man down the stairs. Make it look like an accident. I saved every clip. Sent them to Patricia. Her email response. This changes everything. File immediately for emergency protection order based on threats. December 22nd. Court hearing for emergency protection order. Judge reviewed the video evidence. Granted it immediately. Derek was ordered to maintain 5 meters distance from me at all times, even in the shared house. Derek's face when the sheriff served the order. Pure hatred. Christmas Day arrived. I spent it alone in my bedroom while Derek, Vanessa, and Chloe celebrated in the living room. I could hear them laughing, talking about how they'd fight the eviction, how I'd eventually back down. I listened to Sarah's video message again. Be strong, be selfish, live your life. January 7th. RTDRS hearing, scheduled for February 12th. Patricia filed extensive documentation. The photos, the videos, the financial records showing 3 years of zero contribution. January 10th. I received a call from Derek's lawyer. Martin Pierce, sleazy voice, tried to negotiate. Mr. Mitchell, my clients are willing to start paying rent. $500 monthly. Market rate for a 3-bedroom arrangement in that neighborhood is $1,800. Patricia countered. We were on speakerphone in her office. They can't afford that. Then they can't afford to live there. See you at the hearing. January 15th. Derek tried a different approach. He showed up at my bedroom door with Chloe. Dad, can we talk? Without lawyers? I cracked the door open. The camera in the hallway was recording. Chloe has something to say, Derek prompted. My granddaughter looked at me with big eyes. Grandpa, please don't make us leave. This is the only home I've known. You've lived here 3 years, Chloe. You had a home before that. But I love it here. I love being near you. Then, visit. After you move out, Derek's facade cracked. You're really going to throw your 16-year-old granddaughter out on the street? I'm asking you to find your own housing, which you should have done 3 years ago. Mom would never forgive you for this. Your mother warned me this exact conversation would happen. I closed the door, locked it, but I felt the guilt. I was human. This was my granddaughter. Shouldn't family mean something? I called Patricia. Am I doing the right thing? Mr. Mitchell, if you back down now, you'll never get them out. And based on those videos, I'm concerned for your safety. February 12th arrived. RTDRS hearing at the Calgary courthouse. I wore my good suit, the one Sarah had bought me for Derek's wedding. Patricia met me in the lobby. The hearing room was small, official. An adjudicator, Miss Chen, reviewed our submissions. Derek and Vanessa sat across from us with Martin Pierce. Chloe wasn't present. Miss Chen spoke. I've reviewed extensive documentation. video evidence of threats against Mr. Mitchell, financial records showing 3 years of occupation without rent payment. The notice to vacate was properly served, and the required 60-day period has elapsed. Derek started to speak. Miss Chen held up her hand. Mr. Thompson Mitchell, you've had ample time to secure alternative housing. This hearing is not about whether you should leave, but when. She looked at her notes. I'm granting the eviction. You have 30 days from today, March 14th, to vacate the premises. If you're not out by then, the sheriff's office will enforce removal. Vanessa started crying. Derek's face turned red. This is bullshit. He's my father. Mr. Thompson Mitchell, your family relationship doesn't override tenancy law. Dismissed. Outside the courthouse, Derek confronted me on the steps. I hope you're happy. I'm not happy, but I'm done being taken advantage of. We're your family. Family doesn't threaten to push people downstairs. His eyes widened. You recorded that? I recorded everything. Patricia touched my arm. Mr. Mitchell, let's go. I walked away from my son, feeling Sarah's approval like warm sunshine. The next 30 days were hell. Derek and Vanessa packed slowly, making sure to damage things. Holes punched in walls. Bathroom fixtures cracked. My workshop in the garage stripped of tools they claimed were community property. I documented everything. Every broken door. Every missing item. Patricia assured me we'd sue for damages. March 13th. The day before the deadline, a moving truck finally arrived. I watched from my bedroom window as they loaded furniture, boxes, Chloe's belongings. Derek came to my door one last time. I hope you die alone. I'd rather die alone than live imprisoned in my own home. He left. The door slammed so hard a picture fell off the wall in the hallway. Silence. For the first time in 3 years, my house was quiet. I walked through the rooms. Damage everywhere, but empty. Mine again. I sat on the couch and let myself feel it. Relief, grief, freedom, exhaustion. Then I called Patricia. What now? Now you decide what you want to do with your life, Mr. Mitchell. I spent 2 days cleaning, repairing what I could, making lists of what needed professional help. The house felt too big now, too full of memories, both good and bad. March 16th. I contacted a realtor, Melissa Chang, young and energetic, specialized in Calgary's northwest communities. I want to sell, I told her. May I ask why? Too many ghosts. She understood. Let's get you a fresh start. The house listed at $565,000. Market in Calgary had recovered nicely. Within a week, 3 offers. I accepted one for $558,000, all cash, quick close. While waiting for the sale to finalize, I drove to Canmore, 90 minutes west of Calgary, nestled in the Rockies. Sarah and I had always talked about retiring there, but Derek's needs had kept eating away at our savings. Not anymore. I found a 2-bedroom condo in a quiet building. 2nd floor, mountain views, balcony facing the Three Sisters Peaks, priced at $385,000. I put in an offer using Sarah's fund for the down payment. Accepted. April 30th. Closing day on the Calgary house. I signed papers in Melissa's office, handed over keys to the new owners. Young couple with a baby. They promised to love it. Make it yours, I told them. Don't let anyone take it from you. May 1st. Moving day to Canmore. I'd sold most of my furniture. Started fresh. Professional movers handled what I kept. Sarah's desk, my tools, photos, Sarah's recipe book in its place of honor. The condo was perfect. Quiet building, mostly retirees. Nobody asking for money. Nobody taking without asking. Just peace. I set up the 2nd bedroom as my woodworking studio. Proper ventilation, good light, workbench positioned to face the mountains. First project. A shadow box for Sarah's recipe book. Cedar frame, glass front, mounted on the living room wall where I could see it every day. June rolled into summer. I fell into a rhythm. Morning coffee on the balcony, watching the sun hit the mountains. Afternoons in my workshop, making furniture pieces I sold at the local craft market. Evenings, reading or watching the sunset. Derek tried calling twice. I didn't answer. He sent emails. I deleted them. Vanessa attempted to friend me on Facebook. I blocked her. Patricia called with an update. The damages lawsuit settled. They're paying $7,500 for repairs. Installment plan. I don't even care about the money anymore. I know, but it's the principle. One Thursday afternoon in July, I met someone at the Canmore coffee shop. James Harrison, 73, retired from the oil industry. We'd been chatting at the craft market for weeks. He invited me to join his woodworking group. We meet Thursdays, he said. Just a bunch of old guys making sawdust and telling stories. I'd like that. For the first time in 4 years, I made plans that were just for me. No family obligation, no guilt, just friendship and choice. August 23rd marked 4 years and 9 months since Sarah died. I woke early, made her butter tart recipe from the book. The measurements were proper now, not coded. I sat on my balcony eating one, watching the mountains turn gold in the morning light. My phone buzzed. Derek's number. I almost ignored it, then curiosity won. I answered. Dad? His voice was different, smaller. Derek. I wanted to apologize. Silence. Vanessa left me, took Chloe. Said I was a loser, who couldn't even manipulate his own father properly. He laughed bitterly. She was right. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you? I thought about it. Honest answer. I'm sorry you're in pain. I'm not sorry I stood up for myself. Mom really left you a letter? Warning you about me? She did. And a video message. She loved you, Derek. But she knew your limitations. Can we ever fix this? I don't know. Maybe. But not today. I need more time. Fair enough. He paused. I am sorry, Dad. About the recipe book. About everything. Apology noted. I have to go now. I hung up. Didn't feel victory or vindication. Just tired and at peace with my choice. I finished my butter tart. Went inside to my workshop. Had a commission to finish. A jewelry box for James's granddaughter. Cherry wood, dovetail joints, brass hinges. The work absorbed me completely. Sawdust catching the afternoon light through the window. My hands steady and sure. That evening, I stood on my balcony watching the sunset paint the three sisters' peaks in shades of orange and pink. Sarah's recipe book glowed softly through the window behind me, visible in its cedar shadow box, the handwriting of 4 generations of strong women preserved forever. I touched my chest, where I sometimes still felt the weight of Sarah's presence, and smiled. Not a sad smile, a peaceful one. I did it, Sarah, I whispered to the mountains. I chose myself. Thank you for showing me how. The peaks stood silent and strong, eternal witnesses. Tomorrow I'd wake up and choose myself again. And the day after that, and the day after that. That was the inheritance Sarah had really left me. Not $50,000, not recipes or video messages, but permission to live for Robert Mitchell, to respect myself enough to demand respect from others, to understand that love without boundaries is just enabling harm. I went inside, closed the balcony door against the cooling mountain evening, and sat down to watch a movie I'd chosen, eating food I'd cooked, in a home that was solely, completely, peacefully mine. And it was enough. It was more than enough. It was everything. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Tell me where you're watching from and what time it is. To listen to the next story, click the video that appears on your screen. Thank you for watching.